When I wake up at night, I gotta know the time. Can I sleep some more? Out of bed I climb. Check throughout my work day, counting down to lunch. Looking at my wrist all day, checking the time a bunch. It's not just about the time, it's part of my identity. The character of the design, exhibiting my complexity. The colors, my mood. Rushed out the house without it, I'm screwed. Without my watch, feel nude. It's part of my life, it's who I am. I'm a big time watch lover, a huge ass fan. I know my phone has a clock, but I don't care. My phone lacks the flair. My watch shows my personality, my individuality. My interest in love, I keep buying more to satisfy my urges. I can't stop collecting, overspending splurges. Emptying the bank, now I got too many payments on several services. Quartz or auto, and yeah, you need to win the lotto to buy some complications. You spend a little, you spend a lot chasing your grails and buying what's hot. Put on your diver or dress watch today. Classy for the office or rugged to play. Oh, 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 oh. My individuality. I keep buying more to satisfy my urges. I can't stop collecting, overspending splurges. Emptying the bank, now I got too many payments on several services. Quartz or auto, and yeah, you need to win the lotto to buy some complications. You spend a little, you spend a lot, chasing your grails and buying what's hot.
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome back once again. Thank you so much for joining me as always here on the Spotlight Watch Review. Today, we're going to be taking a special look at a rather special watch, the Nubeo watch's Opportunity Chronograph in the Star Trek Limited Edition First Contact Day. Now, this particular watch, there are only going to be 125 pieces made per variation. This is going to be a tribute to one of the most pivotal moments in Star Trek history. On April 5th, 2063, humanity made its first successful contact with extraterrestrial life, and the dial showcases this stunning 3D molded masterpiece of the Vulcan spacecraft. And I promise you, I'm going to mispronounce this. So if you're a Star Trek fan, I apologize. The Taplana Hath. I'm probably very, very far off on that. But that's what that little purple or burgundy triangular thing is down inside of the dial. That is the spacecraft that the Vulcans used to fly out to meet the crew members of the Enterprise. Now, I'll give you a little breakdown of the movie a little bit later. I think the movie is less important than the watch in this case, but they're equally as important in the whole storytelling of the entire thing. Now, if you're new to Nubeo watches, their whole concept is to create fun, sporty, generally sporty. I shouldn't just say sporty, but generally sporty, fun watches that have a theme of either space or deep sea exploration. And a lot of times, what they're doing is they're commemorating the people, the equipment, or the machines or the craft that make these journeys possible. Today, what they've done is they've gone off into sci fi, into the movies, and decided to commemorate this particular event in Star Trek history. Now, I myself am not a huge Star Trek lover. Like, I'm a casual observer, a casual watcher. I've watched the original series since I was a little kid because I was born in the 70s. So, Star Trek was obviously immensely popular throughout my childhood, both in the television realm and in the movie realm. And then later, what was it in the late 80s, early 90s? You had the Next Generation, and that was Captain Picard and Riker and all those people. And that's this crew. The crew that was in this movie was the Next Generation crew. And while most of the stuff is fairly interesting, I think it does get to be a little bit extra geeky for me. So I don't tend to get into it as much as some other things in sci fi that I enjoy, but it's generally always enjoyable. So for those of you like me, you may not get all of the ultimate pleasure of having the Vulcan craft in the dial of the watch. I liked it as a design element, not specifically because it was that exact spacecraft. And for those that are actual big fans of Star Trek, you're going to really appreciate this watch for that craft that's on the dial. And then, of course, all the markings on the dial that commemorate the date and the year that the event took place in the film. Now, I've seen the film a couple of times. It's not a bad movie. It's pretty enjoyable. It follows the crew of the Enterprise E as they travel back in time to stop the Borg, who, if you don't know, is a cybernetic alien collective, from preventing Earth's first contact with alien species. The Borg plan to assimilate the Earth by altering the past, specifically by sabotaging the historic flight of Zephram Cochrane, who invented the warp drive. Now, again, if you're not a big fan of these of the show or the series, none of that made any sense. But basically, warp drive is something that's been present ever since the very early show, and that is essentially what allows them to travel at light speed across great distances in the galaxy fairly quickly. Now, Cochrane's successful flight attracts the attention of the Vulcans, which initiates humanity's entry into the galactic community. So while Captain Picard struggles with personal trauma because he was in the past assimilated by the Borg, he leads the fight to stop their invasion aboard the Enterprise. Meanwhile, Commander Riker and a whole bunch of others in the crew work to ensure that Cochrane completes his mission, because if he doesn't have that successful flight with the warp drive, then that signal isn't sent out into space for the Vulcans to retrieve to realize that, hey, the humans on Earth have reached a certain level of technology that they need to be introduced into the galactic community and recognized as I think of the world recognizing the United States as a world power. Think of it that way. So in the galactic community, Earth was always the primitive. The humans, we didn't really do anything that was particularly special. But now we have warp drive capabilities. We have the ability to fly beyond the stars and travel light years and visit distant planets and things like that. So the Vulcans decide this is the time that we approach the humans and welcome them in. So, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. And I know that that got way more geeky than it should have. However, you do not need to be a super sci fi geek in order to enjoy this watch. Let's talk about the watch's specifications. I'm going to lay it down right here. I always struggle with this, don't I? I have to change my lighting setup for my watch videos, I think, because I always have to deal with insane glare. There we go. I'll put that off to the side. We'll list the specs over here. You're looking at a 48 millimeter 316L stainless steel case done in a black ionic plating. Your case thickness is 18 millimeters with a semi domed, anti reflection coated sapphire crystal. Your lug end to lug end length, which is the distance it will span across the wrist, is 57 millimeters. This is a big watch, and I want you to be aware of this. I personally wish it was 44 to 46 millimeters because that's where I'd rather be on this. But they tend to, Nubeo that is, tend to make larger watches. And they are right now about the only brand that I personally make an exception for. I own a few. I own one of their tourbillons. I own their wandering hours. I love their watches. I love the quality. I love the value. I love the vibrant color combinations, the unique, more playful designs in most of the watches. And I do plan on owning several more in the near future. So when I saw a YouTube short from the Nubeo YouTube channel showing that this was coming soon, I knew I absolutely had to have it. I loved the overly complex look of it. Generally, I like a less busy dial. Generally, I want it easier to read the time. But realize this, they have really done a fantastic job with making the hour and minute hands stand out from that incredibly busy dial. Because let's face it, even without the Vulcan craft on there, it is a busy, busy dial, and there's lots of colors and things going on. So they did a really fantastic job with the hands and the hour markers, making them stand out to make this very legible. So I said, you know what? I absolutely have to have this. And I know that Nubeo typically, even on their giant watches, has a way of making them very, very comfortable. And they did so here in this case. You've got nicely curved lugs on here with a flat case back and a very soft rubber strap. This is an FKM rubber strap, which is the most flexible, the softest, and most comfortable. Now, it's not going to be a jaw dropping, earth shattering, pioneering sort of watch because it's only 100 meters water resistant. It's not two, three, 500,000 meters, nothing like that. It is not a high end mechanical or automatic movement. It's just a simple Japanese quartz chronograph, which I believe it is a Miyota chronograph. And I'll look it up just to be sure between now and the time I edit this video. They don't provide the information on Nubeo's website, but I'm going to take a look at the registers here and see if I can figure out myself which movement this is. Anyway, so as I mentioned, you have the sapphire crystal. You have, oh, by the way, you have Swiss New Light for your luminescence, which if you'd like to see that loom again, I am more than happy to kill the lights again. Let's break out the UV light, charge it up for a couple of quick seconds, and see what happens. Oh, yeah. They did a really, really good job on this, particularly in the bezel. Now, the one disappointment for me is that the hour markers tend to fade away a little more quickly than I would like. Is that a huge deal? Not really. It's not a dive watch. It's not something that I am relying on to be blasting light throughout the night. I still would like it to last a little bit longer, though, especially when you look at the large application of the loom. You've got very thick, very large hour markers and very wide, large hands. Now, let's quickly get this on the wrist, and I'll give you a size comparison here. On my personal wrist, I am wearing my Zin U1. This is my perfect comfort zone as far as size goes. I don't really do the 48, 50 millimeter watches anymore like I did in the early to mid 2000s. That was what was very popular back then. And I worked with a number of brands that helped to pioneer that popularity. So I got sucked in like many of you did. But as I aged, I'm 51 years old now, I'm getting up there. As I've aged and as my tastes have changed, I found myself wanting to be at that 42 to 44 millimeter size. So, yeah, this is perfect. Now, to give you that comparison, it's kind of hard to get both wrists in the same shot. As you see, it's not ridiculously bigger, but it is a significant difference. And again, you've got so many cool details here. Get that chronograph running. You see it's got a fairly smoothly sweeping chronograph hand. We'll stop, reset, and let's listen to that bezel. Wow, there's no backplay on it. I didn't realize that. I've had this watch for a few weeks now, and I've worn it for a few weeks. But honestly, I haven't timed anything where I've needed to use the bezel for anything. So I don't know that I've even rotated it before, but it's got a nice 120 click bezel. Sounds good, feels good. It's pretty smooth with just enough ratcheting so that you can feel each detent for each minute that it's going through, but it's not clunky or notchy. And there's no backplay. It locked in and it stayed there. That was pretty darn impressive. Now, I also really like the shape of this case too. It's not a flat slab-sided sidewall. You've got a rounded donut-shaped sidewall to the case, which is going to make it comfortable against the back of your hand when your arm bends. You have no sharp angles there to be digging into your skin. You've got a screw down crown, standard pushers, screwed in case back, and there is your signed buckle with the Nubeo logo. Is that Hyundai or Nubeo? Okay, that is Nubeo. Just want to make sure I wasn't holding a Hyundai watch all of a sudden. Boy, their logo is pretty similar to Hyundai's, isn't it? There's so many Hyundais and Kias on the road now. It's almost impossible to not know what that logo looks like. All right. So, my overall thoughts on this. I think that even if you're not the world's biggest Star Trek geek, you're going to enjoy the watch for what it is because it is really cool looking. Even if you didn't know what that blob was hovering just on top of the dial, it still looks really, really cool. I like the contrast of the orange in the subdials. I think they did a really nice job on the colorway combination here. The skeletonized black dial cut away, exposed even more area for the date complication as well. The complementing colors on the chronograph hand as well as on the center as well, covering the cannon pinion. It's just cool, man. There's the date right there, 2063, the year we made contact. So much loom. So overall, I look at it as a fun watch. I don't think it's the watch that you're going to wear to impress a lot of people. If that's your goal, that's when you're going to throw your Breitling on or your Rolex on or something like that. This is a fun, casual, everyday wear sport watch. It's not meant to be overly abused. It's not a G-Shock. It's not, meant to handle all those extremes. It's just meant to be a good, fun, everyday wear watch. And it works for that, man. And it's just different enough in this colorway. I chose the brown because I wanted something that was unlike anything else in my collection. They have some other color choices available that are a little bit more standard. I like this because nothing in my collection looks like this. So it was a little bit different. I think overall it's a really nice looking watch. It wears extremely well. It's very comfortable, very well balanced, very easy to wear. And honestly, for the money that they're charging for these, it's a good deal. I thought it was going to launch out of the gate at some ridiculous high price. Because I'm going to be honest with you, as much as I really dig Nubeo, sometimes when they first launch a product, I have to take a step back and go, whoa, the price is a little bit cost prohibitive to always own them as soon as they come out. But if you give them a little bit of time, they'll generally hit a sale. And when that happens, you're going to get the price that you want almost guaranteed. Now, I almost always have an affiliate link or coupon code or something that I can pass on to you. I'm not sure if I do on this one. My memory isn't really working very good today. So, what I'll say is this: check the video description. Go into the description. If I have a discount code for you or a discounted link, it will be in there for you to be able to shop and save a lot of money. If not, my apologies. I dropped the ball or something, and I don't have that for you. But either way, I believe that the launch price on this was super fair, made it easy to add to my collection, and the fact that there's only 125 of each colorway and get a good price, I think that's fantastic. That means every one of these that you own is special. You will likely never come across anyone in real life wearing this watch at the same time that you are, because there's only going to be 124 other people in the world, and this is a globally distributed brand that's ever going to own it. So, what are the chances you're going to bump into one of those 124 brothers? It's probably never going to happen. Anyway, super cool, great color combination, nice and comfortable. It's not trying to break new ground, but it's doing a really good job for that large, oversized quartz chronograph with a little bit of extra pizzazz. This works. Thank you guys as always for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.